We've got something important to talk about today. It's about building wealth and achieving financial success. You see, we all have the potential to become rich, but there are certain habits that can really get in the way of that. The great news is, if you can spot and fix these habits, you can completely change your financial trajectory and set yourself on the path to true wealth. That's exactly what we're diving into right here in this video. I'm going to share with you 10 money habits that might be holding you back from the financial success you deserve. Recognizing and addressing these habits can be a total game changer. So, keep watching to learn how to break free from these financial pitfalls and start building the wealth you've been dreaming of. And if you find this video valuable, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up. By doing so, you'll stay connected with more insightful content just like this. Now, let's jump right in. Habit 1. Expecting a miracle. It's a common belief that getting out of financial trouble would require a money miracle. You know, like winning the lottery, receiving an unexpected inheritance, or landing a ridiculously high-paying job out of the blue. But the truth is, you're not going to dig yourself out of debt through some stroke of luck. Waiting for a financial savior just takes away your sense of control. When you hope for someone or something to rescue you from your financial mess, you're basically handing over the steering wheel and emotionally distancing yourself from the problem. But in reality, your credit, your debt, and your lifestyle are your responsibilities, and you are the only one who can solve the issue. In fact, feeling like you're in control is a significant aspect of financial well-being. There are plenty of things in life you can't control, like the economy or the job market. That can be discouraging when things aren't going your way. To counter that feeling of defeat, you can choose to have some influence over your financial life. Even small decisions, like saving a few bucks or putting extra money towards your debt, can be incredibly powerful. As Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit, points out, motivation comes from making choices that show you're in control. It's not about the amount you save or pay off. It's the act of making that decision that matters. So instead of waiting for a miracle, start taking control of your finances. Open your bills, create a budget, and set up payment plans to stay on top of your obligations. Remember, it's your future that's at stake when you're stuck in debt, and you're the one who can make a change. Habit 2. Keeping up with the Joneses. It's interesting how real estate agents often talk about the importance of your home's location. They say it's better to be the worst house on the best street than the best house on the worst street. It does make sense. A great neighborhood can boost your property value and overall satisfaction with your home. But, it's also true that keeping up with the neighbors can be a tricky game. The desire to be the best house on the best street can sometimes lead us to overspend. We see our friends, family, or neighbors making big purchases like fancy cars or luxurious vacations, and suddenly we feel that competitive itch. It's essential to realize that success isn't always about outward appearances. You might not have the flashiest car or the biggest house, but you know what you're working towards. Your retirement account might not be on display, but it's quietly growing, securing your future. So, when you see someone showing off a new car or expensive jewelry, take a moment to remember your own financial priorities and goals. After all, it's your long-term financial well-being that truly matters. Habit 3. Relying on retail therapy. It's fascinating how different people cope with stress in various ways. For some, it's exercise or music that does the trick, while others turn to retail therapy. Believe it or not, shopping can actually stimulate the release of endorphins in the brain, just like exercise, sex, or even eating chocolate. The problem is, spending to feel good can turn into a real addiction. It creates this strong connection between happiness and buying stuff, and that link can be incredibly tough to break. Just how common is this? Well, a 2016 study by Ebates found that a whopping 96% of adults and 95% of teens have tried retail therapy. They turn to things like entertainment, travel, and electronics to make themselves feel better. It's something that affects nearly everyone to some extent. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying all shopping is bad. It's just that relying on it to lift your mood at the end of a rough day can lead to financial trouble. There are more cost-effective ways to reduce stress and boost your happiness without breaking the bank. And if you find yourself unable to control your emotional spending, seeking help from a mental health professional can be a real game changer. They can help you understand your triggers and develop healthier coping strategies to keep you out of debt. So, while retail therapy has its place, it's essential to find a balance that doesn't bust your budget. Habit 4. Impulse buying. You know, those folks who are constantly struggling with their finances tend to have a habit of snatching up things, whether they're on sale or not. And often, it's not something they had planned to buy. It's like they're drawn to unplanned purchases. They often find ways to justify these impulsive buys. They'll say things like, "I've earned this," or "I actually need this, not just want it." But the truth is, these quick, unplanned purchases, especially when put on a credit card, can lead to a situation where they end up paying for things without having the actual money to cover the cost. To make matters worse, these impulse purchases can seriously mess with your budget. I mean, it's hard to stick to a spending plan when you keep randomly buying stuff. And what's surprising is that when people realize they've blown their budget, they often keep on spending even though they know they've messed up. It's like a snowball effect, right? Now, don't get me wrong. The occasional impulse buy won't ruin your chances of becoming wealthy, but you can see how these issues start to pile up when you consistently spend outside of your financial plan. So, as a good practice, some folks suggest repeating this affirmation daily. I only buy what I need. It might sound simple, but it can turn you into a more conscious spender. And before you know it, your bank balance could be on the rise. Habit 5. Succumbing to lifestyle inflation. Growing older often comes with the expectation of achieving a better financial status than when you were a young adult. You might anticipate a better job, a raise, or even the natural economic inflation that increases your earning power. However, what sets those who succeed in building wealth apart from those who continually struggle is how they manage the balance between their income and expenses. It's so tempting to channel those income increases into a new house, a fancy vacation, or simply higher day-to-day spending. But here's the kicker. Doing so could actually set you back. Take a look at Bill, who earns $60,000 per year but spends $45,000, and Jeff, who earns $150,000 but spends $175,000. Who's in a better financial position here? Surprisingly, it's Bill. Why? Because it's not just about how much you earn, it's about how you handle your money. This trap of lifestyle inflation is a common side effect of earning more and moving up the career ladder. It's okay as long as you're living within your means, but the moment you start racking up debt to sustain a certain lifestyle, that's when things become problematic. The key is to spend only what you can truly afford and maintain your valuable financial freedom. After all, it's not just about making money, it's about how you manage it that really counts. Habit 6. Avoiding your debt. Dealing with a huge pile of debt can be incredibly daunting. Just thinking about paying it down can make you cringe, and many people's initial strategy is to avoid it altogether. They dodge phone calls from creditors and let their bills pile up, unopened. It's like sticking their heads in the sand. But, you don't have to like your debt, but you do have to face it. Start by getting into the habit of opening your mail when you're feeling calm and ready. The more you know about your debt, the better equipped you'll be to tackle it. Once you've faced the numbers and know how much you owe, it's time to work out payment plans. If you have debts with various creditors, focus on paying your utility and fixed bills first. Then, tackle the account with the smallest balance. This approach can make the whole process feel more achievable, and when you pay off that smaller balance, it can give you the motivation you need to move on to the next one. It's all about taking one step at a time to chip away at that debt. Habit 7. Taking interest-free loans. Those no-interest loans at stores can be tempting, just like credit cards with points and rewards. They lure you in, make you feel like you're getting a great deal, and encourage you to spend more. The problem is that a lot of people who take the bait won't end up paying off their loans before that so-called interest-free period runs out. What's even worse is that when that interest-free period ends, they often get hit with fees and retroactive interest charges. It's like a hidden trap in what seemed like a great offer. The lesson here is to always read the fine print. These deals might look fantastic on the surface, but they can cost you a lot in the end if you're not careful. Unless you're absolutely certain that you can pay off the loan before that grace period expires, don't be fooled. Those so-called interest-free loans can turn into quite the financial burden. Habit 8. only paying the minimum. It's a common misconception that paying the minimum on your credit card every month is a good strategy for getting out of debt. But here's the reality. Those minimum payments are usually set at around 4% to 6% of your balance. That might seem like you're making progress, but in reality, it often means you're just treading water or even sinking deeper into debt due to accruing interest. So, the next time you open your credit card statement, remember this crucial point. You owe the entire balance, not just the small amount listed as the minimum payment. If you want to make real progress in paying down your debt and avoiding excessive interest charges, it's best to pay more than the minimum whenever you can. Habit 9. Using credit cards for the points. Not all rewards credit cards are inherently bad, but it's crucial to understand their mechanics and potential pitfalls. Credit card companies offer rewards as an incentive to get you to spend more, and of course, they benefit from the interest and fees you might incur. It's a win-win for them. There's a telling 2010 study presented at an American Economic Association meeting that revealed using a rewards or points-based credit card with a 1% return can lead to increased monthly spending by an average of $68 and a rise in overall credit card debt by $115 per month. This shows how these reward systems can nudge you to spend beyond your means. Sure, you might get a little cash back on your purchases, but many of these cards come with heavy restrictions. They often have annual caps on rewards, limiting how much you can actually earn. Also, some offer higher cashback rates for specific categories like gas and groceries, but lower rates for other expenses. This means you might not be getting as much cashback as you initially thought. If you're accumulating credit card debt while pursuing those elusive credit card points, it's a bad financial move. The debt and interest you'll incur can quickly outweigh any rewards you receive. So, it's essential to use these cards responsibly. Pay your balance in full each month, and not let the allure of rewards lead you into a cycle of mounting debt. Rewards can be enticing, but they should never be an excuse to overspend or accumulate debt that you can't manage. Habit 10. Relying on only one source of income. It's true that for most of us, our main source of income is our job, typically in the form of a salary. But here's the reality check. Jobs aren't as secure as we often assume. In 2018, for example, more than 21 million people in the US lost their jobs due to layoffs. That means if your job is your only income source, you're left high and dry when it suddenly disappears. When it comes to income, think of yourself as a tree. Do trees bear fruits from just one branch? Definitely not. They have multiple branches producing flowers and fruits. You should follow suit by diversifying your income streams. Continuously learn and develop new ways to make money work for you. This not only makes financial sense, but it's also a safer way to ensure you can sleep at night without worrying about unexpected financial hiccups. Now, the solutions to these bad financial habits are personal and vary from one person to another. Someone might need to take up exercise to replace the mood-boosting effects of shopping, while another might have to cut up that tempting cashback card. But regardless of the specific habits, the first step is always recognizing that your behavior needs to change. If you find yourself repeatedly sabotaging your financial stability, it's time to hit the pause button and evaluate your actions. Knowing that you're harming your own financial freedom can be the motivation you need to break free from those harmful habits. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss an upload and you can enjoy the excellent content I send your way.